Twitch Twitch doesn't like the title apparently. But
What?
welcome to Baron and Sadist. I said Twitch.
What is up, guys? It's Baron Yam. And for all you people cohabitating thinking that you're holding it down, how come your wifey's bedside drawer looks like Toys R Us? Huh?
Yeah. Apparently, Sadist isn't a they don't like the name Sadist. Apparently,
Okay.
they don't
Yeah.
like Sadist. Apparently, so
Maybe next time I'm gonna try to spell it with like a dollar sign or like a five.
for Twitch, yeah, you got to do a separate for Twitch. Matter of fact, I can change it right now so it can go on Twitch. Hang on.
Or like the way they get away from with writing thick on Twitch, they just put a bunch of spaces on it.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Broadcast info. I'll just go there and
Right.
I'll put
Oh,
Tren. Baron and
yeah.
Tren.
Well, hey everybody, like the video, and if you dislike the video, you can always just comment the word dislike in the comments since YouTube disabled the dislike feature. But most of our channels still have it available, so you can dislike it if you want. But yeah, well, I kind of saw that Manny Pacquiao is announcing that he's going to run for president still, or he's still going to run for president against
Nice.
Duterte. Yeah,
Against who?
Duterte.
Oh, nice. This will be interesting.
Yep, yep. He's been meeting with him, and he like made a statement today that he's gonna go, that November 19th, I think, is like the day that it's some campaign day or some special day in the election cycle, but that would be cool to see a boxer as the president of the
Well,
Philippines.
the neat thing about that is, I think it was actually, didn't he run for president or he ran for mayor or something like that, or
Well, he's
senator or
been
something like that
going,
before?
yeah, he's been trying to, yeah, hold office after his like boxing career kind of
Yeah.
took in a downturn.
Yeah. Stuff like that happens on a regular basis, sadly. I'm not shocked by it because sadly, when you run out of people who know anything about like foreign affairs or diplomacy or anything like that, typically you're always going to get an athlete or a wrestler or a boxer or somebody that was in the Olympic Games that's always going to end up running for president of your country when not too many people are skilled in foreign affairs. Like that's the next best thing that you could possibly have to being skilled in the foreign affairs is somebody that boxes or somebody that travels like that or somebody from the Olympic Games because they pretty much know what they can and cannot do in other countries because they travel to many countries to either exercise, work out, train, all that, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I'm sure that every country has different workout facilities and stuff too, and that they would travel just to like get access to certain equipment, or like
Mhm.
America, for example, or Arnold Schwarzenegger. He ended up becoming the governor of
Yeah.
California. That might be because, yeah, nobody in California knows anything about foreign affairs.
Well, he's a governor too, so
Well,
it's like
it's
it's not
different.
like
It's different than being a president.
it's different from
Yep.
being a senator.
Right.
Yeah, so you have that. I mean, it's a governor. Basically, he governs a state. So it's like when you get legislators and Senate, then like that's when you start seeing things. These are people that are making laws for both local and foreign affairs.
Right.
So
Right.
like how they deal with it, how they go about it, how they judge it, how they gauge it is all based on the legislative branch and the House and Senate for all intents and purposes. Like the president is the president. He's always going to be the president, or he or she or they or it or we, whatever it is. There's always going to be president. But the irony to what a lot of people don't realize, especially in places like America, the president's nothing more than a signature, the cosign on the bullcrap that the Senate and the House wants to do.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how they will, like, a lot of people didn't want to, and yeah, stop me before we get flagged for medical misinformation, but Like
Yeah,
whenever a
you might not
president,
want to go there then if you're going to say you're
yeah,
going to
yeah,
talk about misinformation.
yeah,
That point.
they've been cracking down. So I've been noticing that too. And it's just like you can't even dislike a video that puts out the wrong that you think puts out the wrong information nowadays. So it's kind of like before this stream, I was like, what really are we going to talk about? We can't talk about things that are important because we'll get flagged. But we shouldn't talk
Well,
about
that's just
anything
it.
boring.
There's no point in talking about medical anything because if you know you're going to get flagged, you're going to get flagged. So it's like it's
Right.
pointless. Why talk about it if you know you're automatically going to get flagged?
Hmm.
It's stupid, but this is the problem with freedom of speech. Sadly, when I talked about it earlier, it's like it's all fun and games until a
But
platform
that's
takes
the
away your
thing.
freedom of speech.
That's the thing. It's like I think like a lot of people are kind of upset with the manosphere because we kind of made it's not we made a pocket where we can kind of talk about things, but it's like are they the things that matter? It's like we can upload hundreds of thousands of videos about thought chopping and about dating and about all this stuff, but it's like whenever we want to actually talk about something, we're going to get smacked down and we're going to be put
Oh
back
yeah,
in place. It's just like okay,
definitely.
well, okay. I mean, might as well enjoy it. I might as well enjoy that little platform while it lasts and kind of
Yeah.
it's funny you and I were talking yesterday about the gym bros because I was out at lunch. I mean, I'm supposed to be because of yeah, anyways, but I was out in public. And so I was out in public and I was just sitting watching people come in during the lunch hour, and it's just funny to see like these gym dudes that have like the perfect physique with like just like this huge freaking boulder shoulders, but then they can't like order a smoothie without like being awkward as hell. Like it's kind of like when guys go to the club and stuff, and it's like they can't seal the deal. That's like the feeling that I get when I see the gym bros coming in after they just got pumped for like 2 hours with the bros, and like feeling spotting each other, a little bit of like, light petting and stuff. Like it just does it's supposed to help your self-esteem. And then all of a sudden they walk into like a place to order food and then they're like start slouching and they start like touching their face and it like, looking around. They can't maintain eye contact and it's just like, wow, this is it makes sense now that they go to the gym for their insecurities rather than to feel better about themselves. It's like
Yeah, because we were talking about that yesterday. Because there's a lot of people that go to the gym that typically go to the gym so they can overcompensate for something else. There's a lot of people that go to the gym so they can work out so they can look good for the opposite sex. There's a lot of people that go to the gym because there's nothing else in their day that they could probably pretty much fill it with. So that's all they can do is just go to the gym. Like during this lockdown, I found it funny during this lockdown how many people bulked up during this lockdown. And the irony to it is, I know a guy who suffers from depression. He spent most of the lockdown when a gym was actually open during the lockdown working out. Did he deal with his depression? No. Um, but he did accomplish another goal, sadly. So basically he put off working on himself to work on his body or work on his physique. Am I shaming him? No. The sad part about that is you have a physique, but you still don't have the tools to deal with your actual problem, your underlying problem on why you actually went to the gym and plugged into the gym that hard, sadly. And this is the thing you'll see with a lot of society today. When people go back and forth and when people do the dumb stuff that they do, you'll typically see this once in society at the end of the day.
kind of like it's like stop and go tactics. Like it's almost like trench warfare because it's just
Yeah.
like people sitting in a certain mindset until somebody pushes them to go somewhere else, and then yeah, it's like bad communication too with
Mhm.
themselves, and then bad relationship with themselves. So then and then yeah, it was because we were just to expound upon that because we were talking about how these guys get tons of matches every day probably because of their body. They've molded their body, but it's like are they ready to actually have a date that goes well, that isn't that isn't like them just awkwardly beating up and her being because I was talking to this girl and she was like, yeah, they just give off kind of like douchebag energy because they won't ever approach, or they'll do slick shit, like they'll like try to bump into you or something or like give her
And
an
that's typically, I mean, you also got to take consideration too. That's typically what they do. And with those kids, I'm willing to bet any money they were raised by a single mother, because typically those are the same tactics that women use to actually get a man's attention. And if you're a guy doing that shit, if the shoe fits.
Yeah, I just was realizing that too, because I was like, okay, if there's, I don't really care if how I look. Like if there's a girl that I like, I'm gonna, walk up to her. I'm going to ask her for her number. I'm gonna ask her out or something like that. But
Yeah.
but it doesn't happen it's not like I just do that all the time. But for them to be that fit and that like like sculpted, and then they just stand around waiting for a woman to come up to them. It's like, do they know what the roles are, or do they know like how to play the game, or are they just fucking? I
They
kind of
probably don't know. You also got to take it seriously. There's a lot of people that don't know how to play the game at the end of the day, whether we all like it or not. And it's sad. It's very sad that there's a lot of men out there that don't know how to play the game. This case in point. Case in point. This is the difference between being raised by a single mother and being raised by a father-driven household. Right now, in my comment section, right now, my daughter's arguing with a person that's playing like they're a female, or there might be a male playing a female, or it might be a female actually trying to pretend like she's trying to help. She's literally arguing back and forth with a 15-year-old girl. Perfectly fine, cool. The thing that I find funny about it is because her scope of understanding is so limited due to the fact that she was raised probably by a strong woman, which is great. Be's raised by a strong woman. But the sad part about that is at the end of the day, when a child is raised by an actual father, they typically have a more range of emotion, a more range of thought,
right.
a larger range of reasoning, a larger range of, character, and they can pretty much handle anything. Matter of fact, I've had videos where my daughter Kierna has argued with feminists from like day one, from the time she was 12 all the way up till now, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's a video where I talk about Talia going back and forth over not wanting to see Kierna and Talia arguing back and forth with some feminists over not wanting to see that Avenger movie.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is they're arguing about this woman about herself, and this woman is looking at me for me to stop the argument from happening. And she goes, well, "Aren't you going to take them to go see?" I go, "No, I'm not going to force them to go see something that they don't want to see."
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Marvel movie. It was the some stupid movie that they were forcing some girl power thing on. It was before the Ghostbusters. Before that, I forget the name of the movie, but it was stupid as heck, though, basically. And my daughters didn't want to go see it because they don't believe, and they actually want to see an actual good movie with actual actors in it and stuff like that.
It was Wonder Woman, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Wonder Woman. It was before Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
It was a movie that they basically try to force a whole lot of wokeness into it. And my daughters like actresses that can actually act versus actresses that actually got on their knees to get the part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've heard, because I get mad when I go see a movie and they go, "Who's this one young actress?" or "Who's this person that's randomly out of nowhere?" And you go see the movie and you're disappointed you spent all this money on a movie with somebody who can't act. My daughters actually like people who can actually act, people who actually are.
No, that makes sense though, because if you're thinking in a wide range, you're thinking like, okay, the budget for this movie was X amount of dollars, and I paid this amount of dollars to go see it, and then the product that I get is just god awful, or it's just like not.
Because like it's one of those things where you sit there and laugh about it. Like, okay, the budget for this movie was $400 million. Who pocketed the other? 335 million dollars, because it's not. I'm not seeing where they got all this money, where they put all this money into this movie at, basically.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where, like, they get these people, and because they're propped up by somebody in the movie industry who got them a role because they didn't know how to act, so they had to do extracurricular activities to get the role. That's a problem. Now I'm paying for some shit that I don't even like, don't even want to watch, and don't even want to read about or look at for all intents and purposes. And that right there pisses me off. When I got to look at a movie that the actors or actresses can't even act it. And the sad part about that is, I hate to say it, but if you notice, those movies, people were complaining about those movies in the media, how bad they sucked, or how bad the actors and actresses sucked in those movies. And the sad part about that is, if you line that up with the same timeline with Harvey Weinstein,
Yeah.
you realize why those movies actually sucked the way they did, and nobody really wanted to go to the movies and see these movies, sadly. And why the movie theaters were like literally falling off, because you had a bunch of actors and actresses that just couldn't act. So they had to go about it in a roundabout way so they can get those parts. Is it my fault that they can't act? No, it's not my fault. It's their fault. This is one of those things where I always talk about, you need to work on yourself and make yourself better. Sadly enough, if you were to talk to a lot of these people, you would realize very quickly that a lot of them have this low self-awareness and high opinion of themselves. And it's funny to watch for the fact that when you see these people, they don't quite grasp reality. And they think that they're just this amazing thing, when in fact they're not that great at all in the least bit.
Well, the comment section is a perfect example of that, right? Because
Yeah.
they can kind of text whatever, they can put whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like if they're arguing with you, you could shut them down and get them to feel a certain way, but they could be doing anything behind that keyboard that makes them feel like they're untouchable.
Yeah, the sad part about that, a lot of people believe that they're untouchable, and the sad part about that is, I always say this: everybody is touchable at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how good your security is. It don't matter if you're sitting behind a computer. It doesn't matter if you're coming at somebody sideways. The sad part about that is, in this day and age, in this information day and age, there are people who know everything about electronics that you don't. There are people who know everything about electronics, and you're a piece of electronic that you don't even think you think is very secure. And this is all I got to say to women who actually like to run their mouths on the internet. That very Apple product that you use, that security literally came from the same house, and the same roof, came from under the same roof as the security I use. The Apple security is incomplete.
Yeah, it's built that way, right? To be like obsolete on purpose, or like
It's built that way so your information can just vanish, or when once it leaves to go to the cloud. It's built that way to break up like that on purpose. The sad part about that is incomplete. The irony to it is, what a lot of people don't know is that information can be actually restored and digitally mastered and bought back to whole. It's kind of like, think of it like this. You ever see like a shredder shredding machine? You ever see like how like CSI basically reconstructs paperwork that's been shredded in the shredding machine? It's the same concept when it comes to electronic data.
Yeah.
So what you can't do is sit up here and try to hide behind something like a
VPN.
Yeah, like an iPhone or a laptop or anything like that, and think that everything's going to be okay from your little ivory tower at the end of the day. It's not. The sad part about that is, at the end of the day, it's not just the government that you have to worry about in this world. There's also criminals that you have to worry about in this world, and criminals don't seem to follow the same laws as the government. Criminals, matter of fact, the U.S. government goes to criminals just so they can get around the laws that they make themselves. Just throwing that out there. So that being said, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, what you have to realize is, if something sucks, it just sucks, whether you like it or not. If a movie isn't great, it's the actors or actresses in the movie. Or it could be the writers. Or it can be the director. Because sometimes you got some real sucky directors out here that suck at their daggone jobs at the end of the day. But we want to pretend like they're the greatest directors in the whole entire world when it just sucked. We also got sucky writers. They basically don't really write a story anymore. They basically write woke agenda, and they force it down your throat in a movie while trying to turn it into a superhero movie at the same daggone time, or some type of whatever type of movie you want to run with for all intents and purposes. The sad part about that is when you run into that problem, you run into the very problem of not being able to connect with your audience. How could I put it nicely? It'd be like if a white woman, because white women used to do this stuff. There used to be this trope in hood schools where the white woman goes to the hood school and they save the whole entire community, basically.
Mhm.
That's basically white guilt, basically, within a nutshell. You want to save it's always like, and if you notice, it's mostly always the white woman that always wants to save the black community. It's always that trope, sadly. It's like they very rarely show where a white man goes into a white black community and turns everything around and makes it so. They always show like the white woman going into the black community, like, making a difference. Basically, what that actually lets you know is that how they view the difference between how they view white women and white men. They view white men as not being able to do nothing like that, and white women to be basically it's
the privilege. It's
a privilege, basically. It's the privilege, and it's also they're basically it'd be no different than making a Wonder Woman movie without the Wonder Woman, superpowers and shit like that, and the braces and the headgear and the super strength and stuff like that. That's basically what they're doing when they do movies like that with a random white woman that they go into a school, basically.
Like, the idea is that the white man who's perpetuating the patriarchy has so much to think about that he just doesn't have the time to relate
or better yet, you can even go as far as to say, because he has so much to think about, he doesn't care about anything else. And that's the trope that they usually try to spin when they make movies like, Dangerous Minds or, Blind Side or, things like that. Forget the fact that that woman was married to a white guy. Forget the husband. Just shove him in the background some daggone where, like, he didn't have any of the power, any of the options to adopt his child or anything like that. It was all his wife that did this stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when you're married, there's pretty much there's actually two decisions in that household, basically. But they make it so that the husband's basically like Phil Humphreys from wherever the heck his name is from Modern Family, basically, or some dopey, stupid guy from like the Simpsons, like a Homer Simpson and stuff like that. They make him stupid, basically, and like he's incompetent, and he needs his wife around, sadly. And that's basically what they delegated to the husband in Blindside too, sadly, because in their minds they can't fathom a white guy actually caring for a black child.
They cast somebody that's like not as powerful of an actor as Sandra Bullock, so there's no chance of him having any sort of like presence on camera.
Yeah, because the husband was like an extra or some in that movie. I think he was either an extra or a no-name actor, basically.
Yeah, like I don't remember him from anything, and that's because they spent all of their budget on getting Sandra Bullock.
Probably. I would not be shocked.
And it's just like, why? Like, I get that she's a big name, but she did, like, that movie.
The sad part about that is I've never really seen her as a good actress. She's a decent actress, a lot better than a lot of the Harvey Weinstein people that came out of Hollywood. But she's not a great actress. She's not a Judi Dench or a Meryl Streep or Sharon Stone or anything like that. She's okay. She's okay. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's agenda bullshit. It's like when you talk about strong woman, there's movies where that woke agenda can be like subtle, and it doesn't have to be a superhero movie where she's doing all this crazy stuff. Like Pretty Woman. You ever seen that? Like that? Like,
it's the sad part about that is like that within itself is actually a kind of sort of a bit of a female woke agenda. Exactly. You can be the prostitute and still find Mr. Right, basically. And it's like, that's few and far between. First off, if you do find somebody like that, they're going to be a simp. Two, if you do find somebody like that, it's not going to be to your liking. So you're always going to, be looking for better and better for all intents and purposes. Or you're going to be looking for the next best thing.
Mhm.
That's the sad reality when it comes to things like that, and people seem to always want to forget about it.
And the woke agenda is not even exciting enough to be. It's like trying to sell them. It's like what people were trying to do on social media, where they're trying to like sell a certain lifestyle, when it's really like it. Most people that complain, they want the original thing. They don't want the alternative. But it's just that the original thing is like not available, so they just try to complain to see if it can see when it's going to be in stock the next time. They're going to rush the people who manufacture it, or rush the people that produce it to like make more of it, despite that there's like a shortage or something. And
Yeah,
and it's just like that's what's crazy to me, is that you got people you got people doing um who are doing like content based on like talking crap on women and female nature, but they've all it's not like they've never been in a relationship before. They've tried to do it, they picked the wrong one, and it like ended up bad. So it's like the blame really shouldn't be put on women in that situation. It should be put on both parties, or it should be the guy analyzing, where he messed up and what went wrong. But it never turns into that. It just becomes this. Though it's like it's like as a man, they just decide to have this no name or lesser known role and let the woman
thanks. Sorry
take
about
over the.
that.
No, you're good. I was just kind of relating the Sandra, like the whole that blind
Yeah, I
side
know.
to kind of like men and women in dating, how like men that don't really feel like the need to have the Will Smith role, or like the high paid role. They'll rather let the woman take the have all the budget wasted on her, and then her be the highlight. That way, if something goes wrong with the movie, it's Sandra Bullock's fault. It's not the male actor's fault. So it's kind of
Yes, isn't it? And the sad part about that is it's never the female's fault. It's never ever the female's fault. And this is the thing that I love the most about it. It's like you did all this for what?
mhm,
Or my favorite is the movies where they will pretend that well, the sad part about that, the woke agenda is always going to be weaved into stuff. The sad part about that is now more than ever, it's more blatant than before. Is the best way to put it. So the woke agenda has always been around, or any iteration of it. The sad part about that is it wasn't front and center as in before. It was weaved into the story low
yeah,
key.
it's a part of the story. Like I think
Yeah,
about the
it's
scriptures,
like there's a difference between something like
like a Wild
blatant
West.
sex and
Yeah.
an innuendo. It was an innuendo versus actually just being blatant.
Hmm.
It was a secondary thing to the primary goal of the movie.
The
It's
movie.
typically how it works.
And in a way, it was more effective in that role, like being secondary, because when it was put out, now that it's put out front, people get to actually discuss it and decide how they feel about it. But when it was secondary, it was like easier to sneak by people and kind of like invade their mind and their subconscious. But now it's like trying to force a kid to eat their vegetables or something that's gonna like spit it out. And or maybe just it's over sugar, like a sugar overload or something. Now their appetite is spoiled, because that's what it is for me and a lot of people. It's like movies. Why we even watch movies? Because it's just there's so much woke agenda and there's so much pop culture and stuff. It's hard to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then meanwhile you have people trying to make, and now people are trying to make movies to counteract the woke culture, and I'm like, well, why we're it's only going to make it stronger, because you're just acknowledging that it exists again, just like the woke movies are trying to suggest. So it's like, what? Not
My
that's not.
favorite thing with the woke movies is the fact that they try to blame the people that they shunned in the first place for not going to go watch the movie and saying that they hated on the movie. The sad part about that is what you can't do is disenfranchise or disrespect your audience at the end of the day. You can't disrespect your shareholder, the people who who drop the most money in your product. You can't disenfranchise those people. That'd be like if slave owners were to let, back in the day during slave days, that'd be like if the slave owners were to let, like, black people go for a whole entire year, then expect their profits to go through the roofs. Well, who's doing the work? Nobody. Okay. So nobody's mobilized to go see this stuff, or nobody's mobilized to get this stuff. Then how do you expect to make money?
Yeah, or it's like if you had a restaurant only feeding the people that you want their money from, and then the people that come you don't want their money. You're just like saying like nah, and you're expecting like, well, maybe the people who have the money that I don't want will die off, will starve to death. It's like, no, there's plenty of other restaurants around. So it's like they're trying to go about it the complete wrong way. Like it's like they're not.
Yeah, or my favorite is the people. The better yet, they even remotely tie that argument in that you just made. It's like it'd be like saying that you don't want people to spend money at your restaurant that that you don't agree with. Okay, that's fine. Now let's just say the people that you agree with is only like 3% of the population, and let's just say only like 0.5% of that population lives in your general area. That 0.5% of that population is not going to put enough of an impact in you to keep your doors open at the end of the day. That's not how business works. So what you can't do is, shake off or pretend as if things aren't happening and things aren't going down the way that it is. Mm-hmm. And, pretend like, your life is great when your life really isn't all that great.
Yeah, it's kind of like the law of attraction bullshit, right? It's like the reason why these people continue to go to the gym, even though their personality kind of sucks. They're just trying to say like, well, if I just work out enough, then girls are going to throw themselves on me.
Like, well, the sad part about that is that's nice in theory, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, this is what a lot of people fail to realize. Communication is key at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. People are made and broken based on the first few things that come out of their damn mouth. Sadly, it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. Now, unless you're a guy and you're very thirsty, you're probably gonna let a girl slide on a lot of dumb shit that comes out of her mouth because you're just thirsty and stupid at the end of the day. If you're a smart man, you basically hold that woman accountable at the end of the day. A lot of men don't, a lot of people don't, and the sad part about that is when it happens, it's very sucky and it doesn't always end up panning out. Doesn't always end up panning out for all intents and purposes. The problem that a lot of people have at the end of the day is they want something to go a certain way, but when it doesn't go the way that they want it or the way that they plan it to go, they want to throw a fit about it and they want to pretend as if it's somebody else's fault when in fact they can't take responsibility for their own actions. Mm-hmm. The sad part about that is it doesn't matter. In other words, what I'm trying to say, it doesn't matter how much you work out. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how good you look. I mean, those things are pluses to have, but at the end of the day, if you don't have social skills, all that stuff is only going to take you but so far.
It's kind of
what ends up happening is you end up in a situation where you just have those things and you'll be taken advantage of.
They can take it. Yeah, you can't. There's no negotiating. Like, we'll be all right. Yeah. Well,
or you'll be taken advantage of, or you'll be used at the end of the day. That's typically how all these work. So now you're a male model. Let's just say you look good. Now you're a male model, and you've been modeling for years, and you're one of the top models. And the sad part about that is your agent's somebody that's been taking advantage of you, and you have yet to get paid. You've yet to see your money, and you've seen very little to no money. All you know is you just look good, have no social skills, ain't the brightest top bulb in the drawer, and now you're being taken advantage of.
Yeah, they predicted your arc before you can even negotiate what you want with the deal, and
it'd be like a good example of that. It'd be like if you were to approach it as a thief. Anytime you want to steal or rob or grift somebody, there's always like somebody that's considered a mark. That's the person that you're going to target to take them for all they got for all intents and purposes. Women do this to men that they marry on a regular basis. The best way to avoid that is not be a mark.
Right.
That's the irony. But the sad part about that is a lot of men are simpy and dopey, and they're always being taken advantage of women. A lot of men will simp out for women on a regular basis and do dumb stuff, i.e. Twitch. Like, think about that for a second. All the men that drop hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on women on a regular basis.
Right, but then that's not cope. But then the people who can have like a stable social life and a stable relationships, they're coping apparently with some black pill reality that, and it's like it's you kind of choose. You tend to choose what reality you know believe in. As much as people want to say reality is powerful and this is science and stuff, it's kind of like their idea of coping is to just like I guess use yourself and using self-awareness to like know yourself. That apparently that's coping. But them going on Twitch, or them you know spending a lot of time on porn, or them spending a lot of time doing whatever it is that they do in order to like gym maxing or something, where they have like a lot of women that paying it that can possibly pay attention to them. That's not coping at all. No, hell no. Are you kidding me? No. Like balancing like life and socializing and finances and stuff, that's coping apparently.
Yeah,
And it's just,
that's pretty much how it works.
and it's what you said about the whole comments and stuff. It's like they're doing something to make them feel better about themselves, whereas like other people are improving themselves, and that's not okay. You can't improve upon who you are. You just have to make what you are look better or sound better or lift
Yeah.
better, be stronger
Yeah,
or something.
live better or sound like they're cooler, basically. And I've always found it funny when it comes to people like this at the end of the day, because they typically try their best to make themselves. And anything about it, if you go read those comments right now, they're basically trying to make themselves out into a victim at the end of the day. And it's the funniest shit in the whole entire world to watch. And the sad part about that is if you've been watching my channel long enough, you pretty much know a lot of my comment section, well, pretty much most of my comment section is curated by my daughters. Very few times you'll see Laszlo pop into the comment section at the end of the day, and typically he'll put laughy face or emojis and stuff like that. Typically, when you see something like anytime somebody gets what happened.
I was gonna say like yeah, anytime you see like actual analysis or something, it's probably one of your daughters. Oh.
Yeah, when you actually see an actual analysis of something, it's 9 times out of 10 one of my daughters, because I typically only respond with the facts or let's indeed or something along the lines of that. I typically let my daughters do it so they can actually learn how to interact properly and learn not to whinge and and cry like women. So I typically get them to do it so they can pretty much better their social skills. Every now and again, you'll get the cartel princess, and typically you'll notice the cartel princess for this very reason, or you'll notice princess for this particular reason. She'll put something to the extent of all projection. Like, it's like the funniest thing to watch when you see that. And when it happens, it's like, well, that's obviously not Tico, because that's not Tico's typical responses. If you know my response,
Tico never said "aw." I'm like, Tico ain't never said "aw."
I know Tico ain't never say "aw," right? That's not even in Tico's vocabulary. Tico's like, get the fuck out. But yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's not the fact that I don't have the time. It's more or less the fact that when replies come in, I try my best to fill them, but I can't. So typically what will end up happening is somebody like Karen would catch it first, and she'll put like a heart and she'll put a like next to it, and that lets me know I got to respond to that person. Now, ironically, I might read like the comment, but typically I'll go, that's not even for me to really respond. So I'll get one of my daughters to do it. If it's somebody that I recognize on a regular basis, I'll respond. If it's not somebody I recognize, then it's going to be my children, hands down, all the damn time. Because my typical responses are something to the extent of facts or indeed or something along that lines. Anything else is probably a Desharia, Talia, or a Kierna. If it's laughing faces, 9 times out of 10 it's Laszlo. That's typically how that works. But Yeah, so people don't seem to get that or understand that. Because I don't got time for like pettiness and bullcrap at the end of the day.
So you said how people spend their time. They try to like max. I think this social media some sort of like there's some sort of maxing community with them being able to have
They
a
do a,
small life for
well, the
every.
sad part about that, they do a lot of clout chasing, and they try to go after people that they think they can take, and they can't take them, so they pretend like they took them when they really didn't. McDowell Dictionary.
He
but
decimated this dude. It's like, did you really even have a conversation with them that like a
that
construct?
says that you actually took them. Like it's like that's like always the funniest thing because like if you notice when the Let's Talk Facts came out, he was very silent about anything Tico. Then he went on that one show and with that one dude, and it's like,
About dating coaches and stuff. Kind of like
yeah,
he's trying to make a subliminal to you about being a dating coach without mentioning you by name or
yeah,
something.
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like I've never been a dating coach. I never even gave out dating advice until well after that whole entire thing, which actually pretty much made it funny. And the sad part about that is like I'm not a dating coach in the least bit. I'm not going to tell somebody to go date somebody because at least not in a video. I might say something behind the scenes based on all the information that you give me, based on your perception. I'm gonna use your perception, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate, so I can get a full picture of the whole entire situation before I give you advice. If I'm going to give you advice on that one, and typically it's one of those things where it's like, if it sounds funny, I'm gonna tell you might want to watch yourself, and you might want to take off the rose tinted goggles, basically.
Hmm.
If it sounds like it could be something decent, I'll give you that advice, and I'll tell you to watch yourself either way. But if it's on a video, I'm not finna give you no freaking relationship advice. I don't got some thing going on where you got to pay me money to come get some advice. No, no, it's not even like that. You're pretty much if you call me up at any time in the damn day, I will give you advice on anything based on any fucking thing, and I won't charge you a damn thing.
Right. That's
That's typically how I am.
it's because
Because
you have
like it could be anything. It could be law. It could be fucking
well,
dating. It could be your
people
thoughts on somebody. It could be anything. I'll give you my opinion and my advice on that very thing.
people think their perspective's so valuable they can't give it to anyone unless they're like being paid for it, which I
Yeah,
think
I know. And it's like,
is like, have they had
you're
a successful relationship ever? No. So I don't want to hear
like,
that I
yeah, like
you for any
that's
advice.
kind of like the dating coaches that are trying to pull the. That's kind of like the PUAs that are trying to play the dating coach. No, like because a lot of the PUAs are moving
Yeah,
toward dating coaching and stuff like that.
their
And
relationship.
the funny thing about that is, a thing I've always found funny is me personally. First off, I'm not fin to get advice from somebody who hasn't been in a successful relationship. Secondly, spinning plates and spinning multiple people at the same time is not a successful relationship. That's just basically smash and dash and keeping your options open. So that's basically like alley carte, basically. Now, if you're gonna try to tell people to get into a open relationship, then I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you're gonna try to tell somebody to get into an actual monogamous relationship and you're spinning plates yourself, there's no advice that you could possibly give. Because I know dating coaches that'll say some stupid stuff like, "Well, she's not a high value woman." No, if you could pick her up I'll tell you in a heartbeat. If you could pick her up with a pickup line and she falls for a pickup line, she's not high value in the least bit. If you need a pickup line to talk to her, she's not high value at the end of the daggone day. Because the sad part about that is, if she was high value, she wouldn't fall for the pickup line. Any woman that says his game got to be tight or his game, they're not a high value woman. They're not at all. They're not. They're just gold diggers, basically. They're bottom feeders and gold diggers. Sadly, they can't. Those are the type of people that can't do for themselves, so they got to get somebody to do it for them.
Yeah. Or my favorite is the people that try to sit back and analyze the people I go after. I like troll on my channel and try to say that I start drama and stuff, but it's really like the people who I really care about. I don't really like who analyze content I analyze and look at. I don't talk about them on my channel. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you're gonna overanalyze my channel. You're pretty much going to play yourself, basically. It's like it's kind of hard to sit back and try to take something that I talked about without talking to me specifically about what it is and try to make an assumption on me based on that. I mean, the neat thing about it too is that a lot of people want to, yeah, either blackmail you based on what you said on your channel or they want to dox you or something. And it's like, I've already doxed myself and I already basically just only talk about my life. I don't really try to, like, there's nothing you can blackmail me about because I'm not concealing anything from anybody other than stuff I choose. Like, other than just the basic choosing when and when not to post a video, I don't really try to hide anything. So you can't blackmail me. You can't really. I mean, everybody's touchable, obviously. Like, but it's like you kind of have to like you really have to be invested in order to want to like mess with a person like me that just doesn't really care or doesn't really put that much effort. Like other people who put in effort, they don't even decide. They don't even think about going after that person when it's like, yo, it would be so easy just to try to mess with this dude because he takes himself way too seriously, you know. And it's just ironic that they just want to try to pick battles, yeah, with people that they don't even really truly understand. And then that's like the art of war. It tells you not to do that, but they're like, no,
Yeah.
I'm better than the art of war. I'm better than the 48 laws. I'm better than
Yeah, and that's something I've always found funny about people when they do it. They always want to try to be somebody better, and when they do it, they try to make themselves a victim in a way where it's like the funniest thing in the whole entire world to watch them do it. And the funny thing about that is at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you watch people, and you basically learn who the heck they are at the end of the day, because they go from trying to argue a point with you to basically shaming to basically calling you names for all intents and purposes. So you watch them try to be intelligent, and you watch them devolve into something infantile, and it's funny.
right.
It is the funniest thing to watch in the entire world.
Like when what's his name when Coach put out that thing called like the devolution. That's like people. That's like comment sections on our videos in a nutshell. It's like you watch
Yeah.
people from being composed to being like, "Ah, you're terrible." Or they're sending you whole novels and stuff in your comment section. It's like, yeah. I mean, I don't plug my Discord or anything, so I guess that's my that's my fault because I don't really think Discord's a reliable form of communication. But it's just like there are ways, I guess, to canvas the area around the video to sort of get a better idea of what's being talked about or what's being addressed. But nobody's really people are too lazy to really take that into context because you have all these other channels that are just spoon feeding you information and telling you everything at face value, and they rely on their credibility, whereas like I rely just on my experiences. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't need credibility in order to put a put up
Well, and the sad part about that, a lot of these channels, a lot of these channels that do stuff like that, their credibility is questionable within itself at the end of the day, sadly. And it's one of those things where, like, it's almost like you're ashamed to be associated with them, or you're ashamed to, you know, you're just ashamed by their goofiness at the end of the day. It's like,
yeah,
it's like they can't quite do anything without devolving into to either shaming or name calling. And it's like I said, it's just the funniest thing to watch. It's like the funniest, disturbing, simplest thing to watch.
sure. And you would think that, yeah, you think that they're doing it to get paid, but they're not even monetized. They're like letting themselves go on a they're just letting themselves they're letting their personality be like tarnished by this social media thing. I kind of understand now why you spread out certain aspects like the comments. You let other people handle it because the
Oh yeah,
more
definitely. Like,
because
because the sad part about that is, here's how my channel's actually set up. Both channels. Well, typically I don't really post very much over on. Only time I'm actually ever really present. Only time I'm ever present is in a live stream. That's it. Live stream. It's the only time I'm ever present. The irony to it is, here's pretty much the workout of my channel. The whole entire setup of a video and the whole entire description box in a video is basically nothing more than Bart. Bart basically handles all of everything in the description box. So all the layout and description box is basically handled by Bart. Cool. The actual editing of the video and putting together of my voice with the video is handled by my son Laszlo. Okay, cool. The actual titling of the video is actually handled by the princess. She pretty much handles all the titling. So any crazy title that you laughed at when you seen it, 9 times out of 10, it was probably 9 times out of 10 was probably her. Anything live stream wise, it probably was Yam that came up with the crazy titles, basically. So it's a toss up between either Yam or Cartel Princess when it comes to the titles. Bart basically handles the description box. You never have to touch the description box. Half the time, I don't even have to set up a live stream if I ask Bart to set up the live stream for me. I actually don't have to set up a live stream, sadly.
If I can just jump in, right? That's the thing that people talk about when they talk about like, because they will look at you being like, I can maintain connections with all these people, and they're like, it's not yours, it's just your turn, or like, I'd rather do it myself. And then you see that
right.
it's
The
like,
bad part about that is, at the end of the day, the more you grow, the more complicated a channel gets, sadly. And the sad part about that, what a lot of people don't realize is, I have several other channels on YouTube that I still got to upload videos to on a regular basis and do things with. So the fact that I have my son Laszlo to edit the videos, because the sad part about that, the only time I'm present is my voice, like the Vedic Ghost videos or the cynical Indian lady to Tico Tren or internal Sadist. All that is nothing more than a voice. Unless it's a live stream, it's nothing more than a voice recording. I basically kick it over to my son Laszlo. He puts together either photos or a video, and my voice is overlaid over the photos or video at the end of the day. And he pretty much makes it either a montage or he basically just runs it over a long video, and it basically it runs from there. That's typically how that works. Because the only thing that I lend is my knowledge and my voice to the channel at the end of the day. The sad part about that is when you actually look at my channel, if you look in the comment section, in the description box, you will realize that my son Laszlo is responsible for the upload of the videos, for handling the videos. The video might be by me, but the actual uploading of the video and actual editing of the video is done by Laszlo. And he's what, 8 going on 9 now. So he does all that stuff, which is actually pretty nice. Then on top of that, I got my friend Bart. And there's a reason why I have Bart on a channel. That way I can dodge any bull crap. If you know anything about my friend Bart, he's gay. He basically handles this. He has a description box. So anytime somebody comes at me with some stuff that you're gay or you're this or that, just know my friend Bart works on my channel for that very reason, just so I could dodge the bullshit, basically.
You hang around, like we used to hang around these people that are like, oh, I named myself MGTOW so that I could be the first person that people go to when they look up the philosophy. And then you realize that it's like, wait, you're the first person that's going to catch all the bullshit and you're doing it all by yourself. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the futility of that. It's just like, dude, you're setting yourself up to lose at the end of the day, just because of like how you incorporate everything that you are into a channel and then put this broad brushing label on it. It's like, that's not gonna end well. You're gonna, unless you have like really good resolve, or you're a troll channel, or you're this esoteric channel, kind of like, like channels where people can't quite grasp what the message is, then it's gonna fail. Like people are going to start hurling insults at you, they're gonna troll you, they're gonna undermine you, and it's just you. And nobody else is gonna like come in and like Captain Save a channel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like people set themselves up for failure when they do that.
Yeah, because I purposely picked the people that I have on my channel on purpose, just so when YouTube censorship comes rolling in, I don't got to worry about that stuff.
Like, you hate Asian people. It's like, well, Yam's on the channel all the time. So
yeah, Yam's on the channel all the time. How can I hate Asian people? Like, you hate women. Well, the Cartel Princess names all titles, every single thing. So if you have a problem with one of the titles, you might want to take it up with her or Yam, because those two are the title geniuses, basically. Mainly, anything live stream, like where we're doing it together, it's going to be Yam. Anything where it's live stream and I'm by myself is going to be her. or anything video wise is going to be heard that titles and stuff. Like my favorite one that everybody thought I did was slapping hoes and burning Simpson naked. That was her. I shit you not. That was her. The matter of fact, Friday Night Blaze, the whole entire premise of Friday Night Blaze and titling for Friday Night Blaze literally came from her. So yeah, it's one of those things where like if you don't quite understand how my channel's set up, it's basically set up so it can protect me from stupid stuff and stupid people. that'll try to hit me with the I hate this person or I hate that person or I hate this person. And the sad part about that is no, I don't.
Yeah, or like you and every time you talk about the man, see, this is my thing too, because we're kind of different in this way. Like anytime you talk about the manosphere or MGTOWs or the truckers or something, they're like, you hate, or like, you know, they did like they go like, Tico, why are you talking bad about MGTOW, blah blah blah, this and the other. And you're like, I have MGTOW in the win, or I have, and then the thing is like, win's not MGTOW. There's maybe 4 or 5 MGTOWs in the Tico sphere.
Yeah.
And that's like they don't realize that we pretty much, just because we say a certain thing and we can maintain a like a relationship with somebody who's in that, who identifies with that thing, doesn't mean we're like two-faced or switch up artists. Or I've heard people say all kinds of crazy stuff about about like, oh, Yam is a double agent, MGTOW dictionary. Double agent.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, how are you a double agent if you're only working for one person?
Right.
Or if you're only with one person. It's like, it'd be different if Yam was like, running between 9 different spheres and then saying he's a double agent. Well, no, technically he's a multi-leveled agent at that point, because he all up in everybody's sphere now. But it's one of those things where it's like, people need to say things or want to say things so they can feel a certain way, or so they can feel like they have a certain accomplishment on the very things that they talk about. And the sad part about that is they always fall short, or they always sound stupid when they do it, sadly. That's something that I've always learned. And the sad part about it is when it happens and when it comes to fruition, a lot of people don't seem to understand or get that this is why my channel's set up the way it is. Just so I can avoid a lot of the bullcrap. So 9 times out of 10, if something in the channel description box is something that you don't like, you got to take that up with Bart.
Or me. Yeah, and
or
that's
or like if something in the title description box, if the title of the video you don't like, you're gonna have to take that up with a female. Like, I'll be happy to give you her email. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start putting everybody's email in a description box. That way you know who you can contact to deal with that very person, sadly, because you didn't like something that they did.
It's
if you don't like,
avoiding the bullshit too is reflected in our view count, right? But people who chase for views then complain about the bullshit. It's like, you're chasing after views. You're not mitigating the amount of bullshit that happens on your channel. So you end up attracting a lot of people who want to troll you, or people who want to undermine you. Whereas like we only really bring in people that like interested, want to see more, want to see what we have to say, and then we get an occasional troll. But then because we're not fielding for views, we're like trying to mitigate bullshit, we can easily deal with the troll and then just move on.
True, very true.
That's what I noticed. Like other people,
are very easy to deal with on the channel for that very reason. Like I said, that's one of the many reasons. Because I always said this, and people seem to either not understand it or don't seem to get it. My channel was always set up to troll trolls, if you know what that means. So my channel has always been set up in a way. The way I say things, the way I handle things, the way things go, the way the videos are edited. Because my son's a troll. My son's a troll like a motherfucker when he edits his videos. He'll put shit in there that'll have people like, wait, what? Like, yeah, so it's one of those things where like a lot of the people don't seem to get or understand that 9 times out of 10, if something is happening in the video, you're being trolled by Laszlo. If an image pops up in the cards, you're basically being trolled by a 9-year-old, an 8-9-year-old for all intents and purposes. Then on top of that, if the title pops up, you're being trolled by a
Like
woman.
my food.
Huh? What you say about food?
Grabbing my food.
But if the description box is not to your liking, you're being trolled by a gay guy. So it's one of those things where like you delegate out the work and the task just so you can stop your channel from catching as much hate from YouTube censorship than humanly possible. Because if you have a staff full of random different people doing random different things that they're good at, you typically can avoid a lot of the bullcrap at the end of the day. Is the best way to put it. The sad part about that is what a lot of people don't know is I basically set it up so I can avoid Susan Wojcicki. The best way to put it. So by avoiding Susan Wojcicki, I can do a lot more things with my channel that a lot of other people can't. Like people will say, well, that's stupid to put that person on your channel. Well, yeah, but my channel survived this long for this very reason. So is it really stupid at that point once you think about it? Or is it one of those things where like you can't fathom the fact that you can have somebody else work on different aspects of your channel and you want to do it all yourself because you just did it. So at that point,
Yeah, I
where
don't
do you actually?
Susan's never really taken my channel down or taken any videos down unless I played music, that was just probably an automatic
Oh yeah,
takedown. So
music for Susan. Oh, she's gonna hit you. She's gonna hit you. She's gonna hit you like a hot fuzz, basically. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, because Susan don't play when it comes to stuff like that. And I found on my channel the stuff that seems to be curated by Bart and Laszlo and the Cartel Princess gets the least amount of flack. The irony to it is I'm actually able to argue a lot better and get stuff reinstated when I know that they're behind the actually very thing. Because the sad part about that, you can't sit here and push an agenda and then be trying to silence. Because basically, here's how it's set up. Because, case in point, Bart, if you say that you love gay people and you do this type of stuff, but you take down the video that was uploaded by Bart, you're kind of, despite the fact that you're putting Bart out there to take the sword, in a way, YouTube is saying they hate gay people. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to hear the expression of a gay person. Basically what YouTube would be saying to a video on my channel. Mm-hmm. We don't want to hear what a gay person has to say, for i.e. Bart. So if YouTube goes against it, that's one of the many arguments that I use to actually get a video reinstated. Like, wow, YouTube, you really hated on my friend Bart. Now he doesn't want to make videos on your platform no more. And this right here shows me that you YouTube who champions for gay people really don't like gay people. This is how you can use that type of shit in an argument for YouTube, sadly. Because the sad part about that is it false what I'm saying? No. Bart literally works on a channel. And if they can champion, even if they champion for women, if you don't like the title, you basically hate women. Because a woman came up with the title. Like, think about that for a second.
Right. And I think it's funny how YouTube likes to throw themselves into social issues, but they want to.
So I look at it like this: when YouTube anytime YouTube like to implement some stuff that sounds like a social issue, I'll go find somebody from that very group, and I'll put them on the staff. I'll put them on a video just so I can piss them off. When YouTube goes to take it down, they have to reinstate the video again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, so you hate this type of people? Dang, YouTube! I can't wait to talk about this one in quarter. Make a video about this one. Like,
I don't have a problem with having like this.
Because ironically, this is why the race and gender channel actually exists right now for that very fact. So anytime YouTube does something that they champion for, but they take it down on a certain group of people, or they do something, I'll pretty much upload a video on the race relations channel saying, this is what happened. I think YouTube should be very ashamed of themselves. Oh yeah, I would go all in.
No, no, I'm just laughing like and thinking about it because this is the type of shit that like standalone channels don't really understand. It's like when they get when they just sit in their own little what YouTube would call like their little protected class or their little whatever they identify with, and they just complain about how YouTube's not taking them seriously when like all they need to do is just play the game. Like just like it's the
Yeah,
same way
play
with
the game. Yeah,
and
like if they want to use shaming tactics, you better use shaming tactics.
right. Because
Like you
everything,
got to
everything
like the sad part about that. If YouTube is going to shame you, you got to put YouTube in a position to be shamed.
mhm.
Because the sad part about that is
Like, see the thing.
you're very rarely gonna win with an argument. If you get a strike on your channel or you get some type of warning on your channel, you're very rarely gonna win an argument with YouTube, unless you're a channel that they like and you made a mistake. If you're a channel like a Manosphere channel, you got to use every single. It's kind of like the thing that TFM said in the one um
You gotta
in the one
outcraze.
stream against the grain, where he said nowadays if you want to come out on top as a man, you basically got to identify as a trans man. That's your best bet anymore this day and age. Because
Well,
the sad part about that is
it really isn't like you gotta have in their eyes, you have to have the freedom of thought and the openness in order like conversationally and like I know interpersonally to be able to be identified as a trans man. Like if that's what the thing. If you're gonna shame a trans man is gonna shame you for being cisgender. But then like that's what they want.
The sad part about that is like if you're a cisgender, you can't shame somebody of that group unless you're a woman. Well, no, even if you're a woman, you can catch backlash as a woman. But if you're a woman and you're of the mindset of the SJW or feminism, it's perfectly fine to do so. But if you're a woman that's conservative or tradcon or whatever you want to call yourself, you're typically going to catch a lot of flack for that at the end of the day. And that's typically how that works. So the sad part about that is if you're cisgender male or female and you go against something like the lesbian community or the trans community or the any community like that, you're going to catch a lot of flack. If you're a woman within the feminist movement, you can get away with saying stupid stuff like that. Like case in point, there's a section of the feminist movement known as TERFs. They can say any off the wall savage thing about trans people that they want and get away with it, and they walk away scot free. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the minute you say you don't want to, the minute you as a person in the manosphere say you don't want to date somebody that is trans, that's a problem.
I think it's like a weird example, but like I like a lot of news channels kind of reacted to the Travis Scott stampede after we did. And Wind is kind of trolling this one person now because their take seems a lot like our take, and he's a huge channel. But the other thing too is that a lot of people are re-uploading. Like I know a lot of hip hop channels are re-uploading apology videos or altering their story because they jumped on it with all these assumptions.
Yeah.
Or like they got some things wrong. But there's one channel that I've seen that's remained constant, and it's a gay YouTube channel. Like they just
it's always the gay YouTube channel. That's always the most consistent channel, and they don't apologize and they don't do shit. And it's we're not apologizing. This is exactly how I see it. I'm sorry. And the sad part about that is actually I know a gay YouTube channel you're talking about. Yeah. I learned how to dodge the shit from that person. That's exactly who I learned to dodge shit because I reached out to him about some of the shit via email. And I was asking, this, that, and the other, I'm getting my channel's getting slammed for the most dumbest, most stupidest stuff in the whole entire world. How can I go about doing this? And he basically told me, well, you're going to do one of two things. It's kind of like the TFM approach, too. He goes, you're going to do one of two things. Either you yourself is going to come out as gay, which I don't highly doubt you're going to do because you're not gay. You pretty much, or you're probably going to drag your friend in there because apparently he heard me talk about the gay wedding on the channel a while ago about Bart going to a wedding for Bart when they legalized gay marriage. Mm-hmm. But he said either that or you're going to drag your friend into your channel. That way it's going to be hard to thump your channel or, go crazy, Spanish Armada on your channel when in fact them themselves will be making themselves look bad because you hired pretty much diversity hires on your channel. You see what I'm saying? So he basically told me that, and I go,
you're treating
you know what? That sounds like a great idea. Huh?
Right. YouTube is definitely not a liberal platform by any means. But what they did is they hired a bunch of people that fit
that
the
are
narrative.
liberal.
That's what you're doing with your channel. That's the way that's the way to avoid it. He's spot on because he knows exactly that's the thing, like as a gay YouTube channel, he has what YouTube wants, which is an actual identity, a protected identity.
Yeah. And then my channel, because ironically at the beginning, my channel was basically me uploading my channel was me recording a video and the Cartel Princess basically taking it, titling it, and uploading it for me. So I technically had that protection in the beginning because I never really had the time to upload videos. I basically had time to do the videos, but I was always traveling, so I needed somebody to upload videos for me. On top of that, I needed somebody to come up with the titles for me too.
It's funny how Dusty said that you got protection from your lady from the cartel when it's really you got protection from your lady for YouTube and the cartel.
Right.
Right. That was a straight up hater.
Right.
He just looked for something to like basically be like, nah, you ain't deserve that. You didn't deserve that.
Yeah, the sad part about that is if you ever notice a lot of times on my channel, because you'll hear people like that'll say, well, I'm not going to say that on my channel because YouTube would censorship me or MAGA man, or I'm not going to show no guns on my channel because this. And the sad part about that, I have live streams filled with guns from various different content creators showing off their various pieces, and stuff like that. Matter of fact, there is a video with a guy with his dick hanging out on my channel in a live stream that is still up to this day. My God. Mm-hmm. That's how much having that type of shit on your channel, people as staff on your channel, protects your channel. Like, because I remember the funny thing about that is that very live stream was struck down on Hidden's channel. He got a strike for that shit. I didn't get a strike for that shit. This is how much having that group of people around you on your channel, handling your channel, actually works in your favor. Hidden got a strike for the shit. I didn't get a strike for the shit, and the shit's still up till this day. Hidden had to re-upload. Hidden had to literally re-upload the video just so he can have it on his channel. Whereas it just remained from day one till now on my channel.
That's the thing. Like I've seen him do some controversy, like some incorporation, and like he did have a druid on his channel once. But then other than that, it's like they don't do anything to avoid the bullshit. They whenever they get striked, they just double down and bring another single white male or something.
It's all about because the sad part about that is you don't necessarily have to have. You don't necessarily have to have like them on your actual live streams or on your actual channels. What you basically have to do is say you have a staff of people that rely on your channel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the irony to it is something that I learned when it comes to YouTube is they like to know, or they like to kind of sort of be up in your business and like to know so they can take the necessary precautions to either thump you or let you go. And if they know that you have a staff full of this, that, and the other on your squad, they're going to more likely leave you alone. If you have a staff full of people that hate that they hate, they're going to thump you. If it's only you, they're going to thump you. If you have a staff, they're not going to thump you because the sad part about that is that staff relies on your channels to do good. And the sad part about that is something that I noticed from employing Bart on the channels. Like Bart just doesn't work on this channel. Bart works on other channels that I actually have. So Bart works on the anime channel. Bart works on the Bart also works in the because originally Bart just did the anime, the description box for the anime and everything else, and stuff like that. I didn't really drag him into the Tico Tren channel until the first channel went down for some bullshit because of a black pillar. they felt like I was,
Flag
picking
you.
on them, quote unquote. Um, but I drug Bard into it, and ever since I've drug Bard into it, I've never had to worry about a damn thing. Like the whole entire description setup. The sad part about that, if you actually go to my thing, I literally have a list of people who are to thank for this channel in my with the channel's overall view, or the channel's overall look, or whatever is it called, the channel's description. I have a list of people in there who are constant contributors on a channel, or who are, people who work in the background of the channel who rely on the channels. And these people go across, well, except with the exception of Billy the Goat and
I was gonna mention
Manly. The rest of these people pretty much go across the platform to other videos that I do, sadly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
I've tried multiple things, just to like elaborate on that, on the avoiding the algorithm, because like there is a video on my channel where I do come out as a masculine presenting trans lesbian woman that identifies as living in Florida and being underage. So that's one thing that I have on my channel. I don't know how effective it is because we were making fun of Win too, because he was like, I identify as being poked, poke and smoked. So it's just like it's kind of like you could try to avoid it that way, or you could
Well,
just
no, because the sad part about that is it's one of those things where it's like it can be misconstrued, and even if it's a joke, it can be taken out of context and used against you. So I typically don't put anything like that for that very reason. Like a good example of that is Alban Preach. If you ever look at their intros and outros, they got we are cisgender niggas, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's one thing that you can say, but the funny thing about that is 9 times out of 10 they probably caught a lot of smoke on their channel for putting that up there.
Oh yeah,
just like Dave Chappelle caught a lot of smoke for saying he's a TERF. The sad part about that is that's something I found very funny. If Dave Chappelle can catch a lot of smoke for saying he's a TERF, but the actual wing of the feminist movement doesn't catch any flack whatsoever.
No.
Think about that for a second. Dave Chappelle's catching smoke for something that they preach, teach, and actually believe.
Well, it's just like for me,
nobody's shining light. But the thing that pisses me off the most, nobody's shining light on that very wing of feminism. Sadly, nobody's doing it.
There's so many other groups that practice tolerance and stuff better than the LGBTs that will not allow somebody to self-identify with their movement. And like Chappelle thing is ironic to me for the fact that like he's supposed to be a comedian. He's supposed to understand like nuance and stuff, but they don't want to allow him into it. They rather have some people who are raised by a strong woman who are like one-dimensional, who don't have really any depth or range of emotion. They want them representing and I'm like, come on, like you can tell by these people's smiles that they're dying inside.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at least Chappelle has the wherewithal to tell you that he's fucking pissed off with this world and he's just done. Like he's sick of shit and he's starting to call out shit. But then like, wow, they want people to fake like they're happy, which is just like it's not going to last. And then they're creating. It's kind of like the whole Muslim radical thing. The way that America's foreign policy addressed it is like they're creating more insurgents and more trolls to their movement by only allowing these one-dimensional people into their worldview. And like
the sad part about that is like they always talk about how feminism is for this, that, and the other, inequality, but what they never address is all the other wings of feminism that are totally against the shit that they try to preach. Then you wonder why we don't believe that you're for equality. Let me just run down the branches for you in feminism so everybody can understand this, because I call bullshit. They got a wing of it, like we already just talked about the TERFs. The TERFs, they got a wing of the feminist movement referred to as TERFs. They basically hate trans people and transgender anything at the end of the day. And it blows my mind that we're okay with this and we just let it happen, sadly. Then they got a wing of the feminist movement that hate gay people. This is why the gay community is trying to get away. When I say gay community, the male side is trying to get away from trying to remove the G from the LGBTQ community.
Right.
Because the sad part about that is, you can't say it's equality when you're preaching this very hate against gay men, which is very funny. It just blows my mind that you can actually literally do this. Okay, moving right along. There's an actual section of the feminist movement that are racist against black people, Muslims, black people, Muslims, the Latinos, and a few other groups. There's literally a wing for either each of those, or that encompasses several of those cultures and or races into their ideology. But we just sweep that under the rug. Sweep it under the rug. It doesn't matter. There is a wing of the feminist movement that hate traditional women. There is a wing of the feminist movement that hates the past feminist movement. There is a wing of the feminist movement. The sad part about that is, if you look up the various branches of the feminist movement, you'll find some crap that will literally blow your mind. Because the sad part about that is, like I said, well, no, we're feminists. We preach equality. We want equality. And then there's a branch, the very branch that says this stuff, that believes in empowering women while depowering men.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, the gay YouTuber communities are starting to incorporate Christians into their the contributors on their panel, and the workers on their channel too. So they're starting to actually adapt and stuff. Whereas like the feminists, you can tell the feminists are just kind of like imploding on themselves, and
Yeah.
and like it just goes to show you that they're trying to distance themselves because these people don't know how to run a movement.
Like a good example, now that I'm on the topic about there's the various branches of the feminist movement, there's literally a feminist portion of the feminist movement that hate black women.
What?
That joined the feminist movement. They hate black women. They hate Arab women. They hate black women. They hate Asian women. They hate anything that's not them. So in all technicality, you literally got the alt-right
chanting. Oh, sorry. It's all
within the feminist movement going on right now.
Feminists
Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. There's literally a wing of the feminist movement that hates black women, hates Arab women, hates Latino women, hates Asian women, and they're mostly all white women. The sad part about that, there's also a wing that is lesbian that hates all those women.
And it's just all these. It wasn't like this before. It's just like they don't know how to disagree with each other and still maintain the same and have one.
And then there's a wing that just hates men in general. But you want to say the feminist movement is about equality when you got all these various groups that hate all these different people.
Sorry,
and it's so disrespectful.
Sorry, the thing that I wanted to bring up about the YouTube channels is like there's this
when's a nut? I'll get the broom and rug. So you can sweep it under.
You have a lot of liberals in this during this Travis Scott thing that are throwing around the words like gay and everything to like and I was listening to this one person and they were just like, you can't just take like a weak or a diminished man and say that he's gay because that's offensive to gay people. Like you can't just you can't just do. And then this is like what women are doing. Women are like shaming men for being gay, and it's pissing the gay community off. They're like, what do you mean he's gay? He's not. We don't accept him. And it's just,
the sad part about that is
crazy.
I've always found it funny because my friend Bart, we talked about the skinny boy jeans thing. Now my friend Bart is like the funniest guy in the whole entire world I've ever met. Funniest gay guy I've ever met in the whole entire world. We were literally eating lunch. I shit you not. Now, mind you, Bart is white, blonde hair, blue eyes. Funny as shit. And like he's sitting at the table with other black people. Other black people at the table. So he's the only white person at the table. And if you actually talk to Bart, he kind of reminds me of I'm trying to think of an artist or a or a movie star that it can possibly encompasses Bart. But the sad part about that, Bart grew up in a hood. Is the best way I could put it. So Bart grew up around black people. So Bart basically got his hood pass, basically. The funny, like this, there was these two black dudes walking past us at lunch. I shit you not. Now there's black women, there was black men, black women, and Bart basically. Bart, without missing a beat, goes, and I quote, "Them niggas is gay." Everybody at the table lost it. The waitress was looking for one of the black people to punch Bart or say something smart to Bart, and the other tables just stopped eating and got quiet and did the long gas, sadly, because we were at a decent restaurant. We were at a nice restaurant. So when Bart did this, it was the funniest thing in the whole entire world. All the black people at the table are immediately laughing. The two black dudes that walked by felt some type of way. They were hurt.
Wait, they weren't like openly gay. He just like
no. They were wearing skinny boy jeans because we were talking about the whole entire thing. That was literally the topic of discussion at lunch. We were talking about skinny boy jeans and the stupidity behind them and stuff like that and saggy. We were talking about the whole entire thing basically. So when those two literally walked past the table, the fact that a gay guy literally said those dudes are gay had us rolling. Then the sad part about that, the fact that he was bold enough to throw the N-word in there and say that at the same damn time, we were done. We were on the floor laughing and rolling. So the sad part about that is when it comes down to it, if a gay guy can really say that about people in skinny boy jeans, what do you think straight people think of actual people in skinny boy jeans?
Subconsciously. I mean, I've seen girls try to fall over.
So then you also got this whole entire culture where you got men running around in dresses and stuff like that, and various things like that. It's like, okay, that's nice that you like to do that, but I don't have to accept that, and that's not who I am as a person. And if you say something like that, you got to be shamed and ridiculed for not wanting to dress up like that. It's like, nah.
There's a difference between a gay dude saying nigga and gay and calling straight people gay who wear jeans, and a straight dude who wears a dress and still wants to be accepted as being cisgendered with no
because the sad part about that is when it comes down to it, they try to say, well, you're insecure of your masculinity or you're insecure of your sexuality. No, I'm not. If I was insecure of my sexuality, I wouldn't have a gay friend. If I was insecure of my sexuality, I wouldn't have any of the people around me who I refer to as my friend. Because the sad part about that, to become my friend, you basically have to earn that position. First off, it's not something that I just give to people. Because something I noticed with friends nowadays, it's a very superficial thing that gets handed out or gets passed around like loyalty. There's nothing more than a tattoo on somebody's neck, basically. There's really no loyalty anymore. So the sad part about that, to be my friend, we have to be very loyal to each other, basically. You have to have the loyalty, the honesty, and everything in a friendship to basically keep a friendship going. You can't be that friend that only wants to be bothered when you have problems and you want to come to me with problems. To be my friend, we literally have to be able to exchange ideas and problems. You can't be one-sided. You can't be like, well, I can't help you with your problems, Tico, but I want you to help me in all my problems, and that's your job. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. If I can't put a burden on you or come to you with a thought or a process or a problem, then you can't be my friend. If I can come to you with a problem, if we can both come to each other with a problem and talk about it without pissing each other off or calling each other out their names or shaming and any of this other bullcrap, then we could be friends.
That's the issue that I have with some like MGTOW content creators, and like I'm planning on putting out more MGTOW positive stuff, like just because I've gotten some perspective in life. But then like the main problem I had is anytime I talk to them, they would react like feminists, or like, well, I shouldn't have to explain this kind of thing to you, or I don't understand why you have a problem with this. And I'm like, okay, the point is that I have a problem with it. I need help figuring it out, like figuring the bullshit. And if you don't want to be helpful, then what's the point of putting yourself as a helper in it towards men or anything. If anything, you're helping women to basically make it so that we look stubborn and we look like we don't want to accept the truth. We don't want to accept reality. That's basically putting a huge damper on our potential as a philosophy to actually form and to actually have strength, because we're going to be shot down before we even get a chance to speak, because they're going to look at the two of us arguing and they're going to be like, why the fuck would I want to be on that team? That team looks like it's not fun to be on.
Yeah.
And it's just
And
like,
that's very true. And that's very true when it comes to stuff like that. And people don't understand it or get that or realize that perception is everything. They go, well, I don't care what people think about me. Okay. And you wonder why people think you're a hate group. It's like,
even
you
hate
can't do dumb shit and expect people to look at you in a favorable or a positive light at the end of the day. You gotta be cognizant of your surroundings at the end of the day.
like
The sad part about that is I get that you don't care, but at the end of the day, there are more people that follow this philosophy who actually do care about the image of the philosophy at the end of the day. Just because you don't care, that don't mean we all don't care. Despite the fact that I'm not MGTOW, I still do care how MGTOW is actually portrayed in or what light MGTOW is put into. This is typically why I refer to myself as the MGTOW PR rep. Like, legit. This is typically why I refer to myself as the MGTOW PR rep, basically.
well,
because the sad part about that,
people too, right? PR reps also get rid of people. Yeah, PR reps also get rid of people who are like look bad for the image.
Yeah, like, and the sad part about that is what you don't want is a bunch of people tarnishing the image of a philosophy, making it look like a hate group, or making it look like a hate mob, or making it look like a hate gang, or making it look like a terrorist organization at the end of the day. Because if you ever notice, you don't see people coming at Buddhism.
Right.
Like, you don't see people coming at the neck of Buddhism right now, basically. And there's a reasoning for that. The sad part about that is they're able to regulate and project the image that everybody needs to see or everybody wants to see. You may not get out to see all the training that's harsh on people, but at the end of the day, the overall image of a Buddhist monk is different than a monk in MGTOW at the end of the day. The sad part about that is it should be one of those things that are side by side comparisons. Like, you should be able to be like, oh, Buddhist monk, MGTOW monk, about the same thing. I mean, granted, one doesn't do the whole entire, Shaolin thing, but the fact of the matter is they both got to their goals. They both were able to get to their different goals using different paths and different methods of getting there at the end of the day. That's exactly how it should be seen. If you're seen as a vicious hate group or a vicious group of people that hate random people, you're always going to be seen as that unless you change it at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying you should change it overnight or do anything to say overnight. At the end of the day, it's all about what you put out there. You get what you put out at the end of the day. All the stuff that you put out is the same stuff that you're going to get back in return. It's basically karma. So if you spew hatred and all this craziness, you're going to get that in return. You're going to catch that in spades at the end of the day.
Unquote, what people won't say they spew hatred, they say that they spread love. And it's like, okay, that's pretty much you saying that you spew hatred to anybody that doesn't agree with spreading love.
Yeah, because the sad part about that is you can't say you spread love when in fact you're basically participating in a hate mob. That's like saying feminism is about equality when you got all these branches of feminism that literally hate damn near every single group of people on the face of the earth except for their own selves. And then you got a group of them that just hate the other group because. Exactly. But we're supposed to believe that it's about equality. Like, think about that.
That makes no sense.
And this is the reason. This is one of the many reasons why lesbians don't get the recognitions that they get, because they literally have a group of feminists who literally hate other races of women.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's bad.
Who are lesbian? Like, think about that. How do you hate another group of women that are lesbian if you're a lesbian? Aren't you supposed to be inclusive?
Right.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. You can't sit up here and say you're for something or you're for women when you hate a lot of the women in the group with you.
Or same with MGTOW. You can't say that you're for men when there's like some men where you're like, I'm gonna block you, or I'm going to do this, and it's just
because you
like
disagree with what they got to say. Like, I
exactly.
get that, and the sad part about that, the fact that you disagree with somebody, that's perfectly fine. You can disagree with anybody you want to, but that right there shows a weakness in your character and a weakness in you at the end of the day, that you have to block people. I don't block people. The sad part about that is when people get blocked on my channel, they're typically blocked by a wrench. And at the end of the week, on a Sunday, I'll let all those people who got blocked on my channel out of jail. They're referred to as YouTube block jail, basically. They all get out on Sunday. So if you get in on Friday, you'll be released sometime on Sunday, basically. If you get in on Saturday, you'll be released on Sunday. If you get in on Sunday after I release everybody out on Sunday, you won't be released until the following Sunday. That's typically how that works. I don't block people, nor do I ban comments. Because I want everybody to see the comments that people make on my channel. Stupid or smart.
Mm-hmm.
Especially so people won't be able to take it out of context. One.
And you got a lot of people who will clout chase and be like, oh, he removed my comment. That means he's sad or he's hurt or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
no. The sad part about that, the thing I love about YouTube, this is one thing I can say about YouTube that I actually love. I think it's stupid, but at the same time, I love it because I get blamed for something that YouTube did. When people tell me that, oh, you deleted my comment, obviously you don't like what I got to say. No, actually, YouTube deleted your comment. Obviously, you said something stupid enough to piss off YouTube for them to delete your comment. I leave all comments up.
Yeah,
because I look at it like this: you fighting with yourself, or you fighting with my daughter in a comment section is funny as hell to me. I can literally go back, look at it, read it, and it'd be the funniest shit in the whole entire world. And I'm sitting here dying. Right now, I'm actually dying at a woman arguing with my 15-year-old in the comment section right now because it's the funniest shit in the whole entire world. Because apparently, according to her, and this is the thing that I'm talking about when I talk about feminists. According to her, apparently 15-year-old girls can't be smart. Yeah, now, do you want to follow a movement that'll tell you some crap like that? If you're 15, you can't be smart. You can't be intelligent. There's limitations to your intelligence if you're 15. Would you really want to follow a group that says stupid stuff like that to you?
No. They want to get they're constantly confused on who they want to be in their group. First, they want children. Then they want to affect the parents of the children. Then they want the celebrities to be on their thing. Oh, the parents of the children don't like the celebrities. Well, then now it's time to go in on the celebrities now. And then it's just they're hiding behind all of these people in their movement that they pick to be accepted, but reality, you can tell who the people are that are really running it, and it's not anybody that falls into any of these categories of people that have perfectly decent human beings in it. It's just that they kind of I've heard Tico say it once. He's like, I might be firing shots towards you, but I might be trying to hit somebody that's beside, behind, above, or like across from you, but it's because they're using these tactics of like trying to hide behind some men who have started businesses, some men who have had successful relationships and families, men who have a foundation or some sort of knowledge base or experience that allows them to. And then you have these other people who are like neat or completely detached or just these socially awkward gym maxers or whatever, however you want to consider them to be insecure. They're hiding behind all these men in the manosphere and being like, yeah, see, we're right. Yeah, women suck. Blah 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 blah. And they're the ones that are responsible for why the monks are getting, put in a bad light.
Yeah,
because they say we're a monk. Oh, it's like, figure out what the parameters are for that, and then declare yourself one. Don't try to declare yourself one and try to retcon your life into being that, because you might just not be that.
True.
And it's just stupid. Wendy is in chat. But
Wynn's always in chat. I think Wynn's on my side. That's why you probably don't see him, Corey, still.
No, yeah, Corey's always like cognizant of who blocked him and not, because everybody freaks out when Corey steals
Yeah.
kids. Well, I gotta get going because I kind of have to start. I have to meet people later, and I gotta kind of get some rest before I do that because I want to be fun. But yeah, no, but like
I
this
want
date,
to be fun.
I want to be fun. That was a joke, by the way. But like, yeah, the whole dating thing is just so retarded because you got the gym bros that are socially awkward, and I don't even know if they could spin plates realistically, unless maybe there's enough girls out there that are just that stupid that would just want to just have sex with that guy with no social skills. Like, I guess they're just as much of, like, back, like, one-dimensional people as they are. But then you got these girls who are like, well, we'll talk to multiple, try to be talking to multiple guys when they don't know what they want. So they're like, ooh, that looks nice in that guy, I'll take that. Ooh, that looks nice in that guy, I'll take that. And it's like they never really get like time to themselves to actually build up like this passion to date somebody seriously. And then they
Mm.
complain all guys are not serious. It's kind of like how guys complain online that like women are all a certain way, but it's like, wait, are you trying to meet the right one, or are you just looking at all of these ones that are just like busted out and flunked out and thrashed and and gotten blasted out and stuff? It's just like, no, come on, put in some effort, and then you can say that. Then, because that's what I realized is, like, a lot of people that complain, they haven't put in effort. But me, I only complain when I've tried, like, 5 different ways to do something, and I'm like, all right, well, now this is not. And then I still don't even complain. I still just like look for another way to do it. So it's just like they don't even want to do any of the heavy lifting. That's why these PUA channels are going to be I know for a fact they're going to be successful. Relationship and dating coaches, because a lot of people will just take their word for it, and they're not going to actually like go into it. It's very hard. It's very hard to do game and actually find the right person. It's like very, very difficult. It doesn't. It's gonna. I think it would last for a moment or for a while, but then what if it would be hard to just be a lie for an entire relationship, especially one you want to last very long. I can't
Yeah,
imagine
sure.
30 years with somebody just like lying to them about who I am. Like, I don't even think, if I could do that, I'd be like, wow, I do not respect this person because they're so dumb to be fooled for all this time. You know,
True.
just like, whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna do my outro here. So we can get out. It's a decent hour, 43 minutes, and people kind of streamed in at the end, so there's plenty of playback and stuff to watch. But this is Baron Yam. Like, comment, subscribe. Look for us on Sunday, Bleeding Edge, and other days where we upload, and hit the notification bell so that you can know when we upload next. Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching, and have a great day. And always be willing to be better. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
This is Tico Tren. All I got to say is, like, do better with yourself and be a better human being, aka internal sadist. Just do better with yourself and be a better human being. Treat yourself like milk and do nothing but spoil yourself at the end of the day, and always be a better version of yourself. And never settle for anything less than a better version of yourself at the end of the day. That being said,
Thanks.
y'all have a good one. You're welcome, Ruby O'Brien.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just be a better version of yourself and never settle for less, basically. And always, I'm not just saying settle for less, but never stop trying to improve yourself and make yourself a better version of yourself at the end of the day is the best way to put it. But it's been a pleasure doing Baron and Sadist. Y'all be blessed. Have a good one. And we'll go with the outros, the intro outros.
What is up, guys? It's Baron Yam. And for all you people cohabitating thinking that you're holding it down, how come your wifey's bedside drawer looks like Toys R Us? Huh?